listener production.
Welcome to the Motorsport Brief. It's a special edition on this Thursday, the 30th of November 2023. A new champion will join us to answer some of your questions and share a little of his journey from couch surfer to winning one of the biggest prizes in motor racing in this part of the world. Hi everybody, Greg Rust with you for this edition of the Rusty's Garage Shortcast. Our latest feature ep dropped on Tuesday, and it's a beauty, a proper passion-fueled convo with Gabriele Tarquini, the 1994 British touring car champion. You may remember he won for Alfa Romeo at the height of the 2-litre Super Touring era when Murray Walker was commentating. What you may not know is that Gabriele made it to Formula One. We'll talk about those struggles. And then on the other side of the ledger, winning touring car world titles and World Cups in his 40s and 50s, plus his new role with Hyundai on the TCR World Tour. A quick thanks as well to all of you who listen to our guests, our partners, and my team at Listener, including Tom Dullard and Link Kelly. We won the Best Radio Show podcast division at the 2023 Supercars Media Awards in the past week. There are some seriously good pods in our game, and it's a peer vote, so it's a very hard one to win. It's the third time we've been lucky enough to put the Rusty's Garage name on that trophy, and I am very, very proud. Thank you again. Now, there's a great yarn on the Speed Cafe website today by Roland Dane that I would encourage all of you to read. It's called Roland's View, as inspiring as Chariots of Fire, and it charts an against-the-odds path to the Supercars title. It reminds you of the value of unwavering commitment, sacrifice, and how not having a silver spoon doesn't mean the end of a dream in a business or sport that is generally pretty expensive. In the closing paragraph, Roland says it is incumbent on the sport to do something to share the Brodie Kostecki story. So, I intend to do a bit of that today. The 2023 Supercars Champion, the new champion, is on the line. Hello, mate, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to be on the show again, Greg. It's been a while since I've been on here, and yeah, I guess a lot's changed actually.
A lot has changed. So a few days to let it sink in. How surreal does it feel?
Honestly, it's a feeling you can't really explain. It's you work something so hard for your whole life, and I'm a pretty simple person. I just like to take it one baby step at a time and try not to look too far ahead. So the challenge isn't too daunting, and but yeah, it's been a busy last couple of days, and it sort of really started to sink in probably late yesterday when I got home, and when I walked through the door, it was I sort of felt a bit different, and it was a nice way to send off the season at the gala as well, and to be the driver's driver as well was a very unexpected award, but honestly, it's been just I can't express my emotions. It's quite hard to put it all into words.
I think the collective is amazing, mate. I mean, obviously to claim the crown, obviously, but then to have your peers do that, driver's driver, right? To stop and acknowledge you on track, off track, etc. That's a pretty big endorsement too, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. I was joking at the table that probably it's probably something that I may never get. But honestly, I've got a pretty good relationship with all the drivers, and we like to have a chat off the track all the time. But when the helmet goes on, everyone has their own version of themselves that likes to come out, and I always try to race pretty hard when I'm out there and fair, and try put on the best fan show that I can for the fans. It was a very unexpected surprise, and I'm very grateful for it.
In Roland's story, he recounts the investment that you have made in building and working on race cars, often for other people. Investment, Brodie, probably actually isn't the right word for it. It's more been, I think, at times necessity, right, to put food on the table, to pay bills and so on. How valuable, when you look back on that now, has that investment been in this title?
Yeah, I think it's, one of those it's one of those times in your life where, you can look at one scenario and you can, look at it as a glass half full or a glass half empty. And I always got told when I was a young fella from my granddad, just take every opportunity and, maximize it as much as possible. And, just make the most of everything, try to be the best person you can be, and don't leave, a stone unturned. So, it was actually a pretty enjoyable, time of my life, to be honest. Racing around, I guess, the East Coast and, bouncing around from place to place and, just trying to, I guess, make ends meet. And, I got to meet so many great people throughout that journey as well. And, got a lot of advice in the space of 2 years, which was really cool.
You have couch surfed, as I said in the introduction. You famously, I think, as Roland recounted, turned up at Paul Morris's with most of your life in a couple of like garbage bags or bin liners. Did you ever get to the point, Brodie, in all of that sacrifice where you wondered if you could keep it going, if you wondered whether you might have to do something else? Was there ever a moment of doubt, or were you unwavering about this?
I never let I never let that side of me really. It's funny when you talk about it now and you show up to someone's house with, I guess, your clothes in garbage bags. And that's what I did when I showed up to Ben and Rachel Eggleston's joint as well. And they sort of looked at me like I was funny and my life was falling apart. But, to me, it was just another journey, like another adventure. And I never let that side of it really, and I never thought of it as of, is it worth it or is it going to be too hard? I just, was always looking forward to the next day and, what the next day could bring me, what challenge and just, try and make the most of it. And, I guess it's a pretty, I guess a pretty good feeling, when you win the Drivers' Championship and you see that it's all worth it. But regardless, anyways, I had a great time no matter the outcome. And I've had a great journey to this point.
Fabulous outlook, mate. I'm glad you brought up the Egglestons too. There's lots of different people along the way that have played significant parts. Can we talk Paul Morris here for a moment? You've spent a lot of time at Norwell. I know that's been beneficial for you, Brodie, in all sorts of ways. There is a little known part of your story that involves Paul chatting to Betty about you and perhaps helping to get her to give you that chance. Tell us your side of that and what you know about it and ultimately how much it helped.
Yeah, most definitely. I wasn't really too aware of all that until just recently when Betty actually told me the story that happened and how it all sort of come about. But I was how I guess it sort of come up and I guess re-jogged her memory a little bit was when I was talking to her before the weekend on the Thursday when she got there, and I said, "Oh, do you remember 2019 at Newcastle when I walked into the garage?" And I went up and introduced myself. At that time, I'd just signed to be a co-driver with Erebus. It was the last round, and she didn't know who I was or where I'd come from, and it was quite a funny interaction, and Shannon then walked over and said, "Oh, Brodie's going to be co-driving with the team," and she was like, "Oh, that's like a surprise to me," and she turned around, put her headset back on, went on about what she was doing, which I think qualifying was about to start at the time. And we've been able to develop such a great relationship over the past 3 to 4 years with Betty and Daniel and myself, and I see myself as a pretty simple person, and myself and Betty get along like a house on fire, and it's always a pleasure having her around. She's always got something really funny to say, or she's always full of wisdom as well. So it's great when she's around, and the team really enjoy it as well.
If I know her well, she'll that aspect of your character is something that she has clearly gravitated to, right? Your message to Shane Van Gisbergen on his post, his end of season post, I thought was really gracious, Brodie. The mark, I think, already of a good champion. Did it get stressy at all between you two in the run up to Adelaide, given what was at stake? I mean, and does winning this against him, because you know each other so well, you know how talented he is, does that make this even sweeter?
Yeah, I think yes and no. It's actually pretty mixed emotions for myself. I had really enjoyed racing Shane, this year. And, I was, as happy as I am to see him go, I would like to race him some more. He was someone that I really looked up to, and he's probably, one of the best drivers I've ever got to witness drive a race car. I guess in my career, and the past few years I haven't really had the chance to battle him too much. He was always a little bit too fast at that point in my career, but to be able to race him this year and to fight with him was something that I'll always remember. And he's I guess been someone that I've looked up to, and I'll be watching him very closely with what he does over there in America, and I wish him nothing but the best.
You're chatting to us from the sim, which I love. Will you treat yourself to anything after winning the title? Will there be a little guilty indulgence here that you can rightly go, you know what, I've earned that?
I don't think so. No, it's a funny feeling. It's like, we won it on the Saturday, and quickly I didn't let myself worry about it too much. I really wanted to finish off the year on a high, and obviously getting the pole position, and race didn't quite go to plan. But it's like one of those things where we did the Sunday, did the burnout, got the trophy, celebrated with the team, went to the gala, did that. But, straight away after that all ends, I got home and I was just thinking about the next test day, what we can do better, and, how we can, carry this, success on, for the next following few years. And, I'd like to be a multiple champion someday. And to do that, I think you have to leave no stone unturned. And so, but, I don't know. I haven't really been that sort of person to, really get caught up in the moment for too long. It's like I feel like I'm rushing through life at times, but I guess that's just the type of person that I am.
Tremendous. Hey, Barry Ryan messaged me for this. He says, you are the most committed and intense driver that he's ever worked with. And he goes on to say that your passion, your craft of driving is a huge reason why you've tasted success so early in your supercars career. He then joked with me, no lattes and lycra, just hardcore racer. I love what you said a moment ago, mate, that you're already thinking about 2024. What would you change, though? What would you change for next year, or tune up, if that's a better choice of words?
Yeah, there's always little things, and no one's perfect, and it's you can't expect 100% out of a single person all the time. But it's that's the lovely thing about having a team around you, is to have people around you when you don't, if you can't perform to 100% that day, that there's someone else around you that can pick up the slack for that day. So I've been very fortunate the last few years to have the same people around me at Coca-Cola Racing, powered by Erebus. We've been able to build up a great, foundation and trust, and, the faith between, believing in each other. And that's a big part of it, is, team culture. So, and, we're on the younger side, as far as, our average age of our team is, quite young. Our mechanics are all young. Crew chief is young, Brad Tremaine. And even our engineers to a point. We've got Tom Moore on Will's car, who's only a few years older than me, and George is probably one of the oldest, apart from Barry, the old dinosaur. So it's a great culture to be around. When we're at the track and we're going racing, everyone has a great time. But it's there's no one's ever perfect, but it's just all about trying to build the relationships up. And we did make mistakes this year. We had a bit of a rough part to the season halfway through, and obviously Bathurst didn't quite go to plan when we had a very fast car and whatnot. So there's a few bucket list races I want to win, and the team wants to win again as well. So yeah, there's always little things, and it's just while it's fresh in my mind, you have to write these things down, and I guess just ask the questions, and I guess going back onto those words, what Barry said earlier, I probably am too intense at times. But yeah, it's Barry and I have a pretty funny working relationship. It's very colourful at times, but we both want to see success, which is the ultimate goal.
I think he loves that almost Larry Perkins-esque feel about it. I really sense that. You are off to have some minor surgery. Just tell us what you can about that. Has it given you some grief during the year, and have you had to manage that?
Yeah, a little bit. I've been sick a few times this year, and it's sort of
it's tonsillitis, mate. Is that right?
Yeah, tonsillitis. So I've been sick a few times this year, and I've been overseas a few times, and so I guess being on a plane for a while doesn't really help either. But yeah, I've been sick a few times, and yeah, it was always, every time I got sick was always around the time close to when a race event was about to start, or I was about to go away. So I didn't really have time to get my tonsils out. So it was pretty much. After Gold Coast, I was quite sick for 2 to 3 weeks, and leading up to the last round, and finally got myself on the mend. And it's one of those things you want to take medication for it, but you can't, because of how the ruling works, and so you just got to try and minimize all the risk as much as possible, But yeah, so off in 2 days to get my tonsils out. Thank God, finally. And hopefully that part of my life's over, because that's pretty annoying. All I want to do is go race cars, but I can't. So it's we'll get that out and sort that problem out.
Power on. Good on you. We wish you a speedy recovery with that. Quickly, Richard Childress was in Adelaide. You took him for a hot lap. What was his reaction? What did he say?
To be honest, I was pretty unsure with how he was going to, enjoy the weekend as a whole. It's obviously a lot different to how they go racing over in America. But to see his joy when I was taking him around, the Adelaide circuit was, quite incredible. I was glancing up at the mirror, a few times and seeing how his reaction was, and he enjoyed every minute, and it was pretty damp at the time, and as we come up to stop, he said, "Oh, if you drive like that on the weekend, you'll have a good weekend." So it was a pretty cool feeling, and to have him there and show what supercar racing is all about, was pretty cool, and to do it from our perspective as well by winning the Drivers' Championship and the Teams' Championship, and I guess with what happened with Will on the weekend to the poor bugger with, getting taken out, and then, the team having to rebuild the car. That's a whole different world to him as well. They have backup cars there. They just roll out a new car, whereas we have to fix ours. So, I guess for all that to happen, and, for him to show and, to see the passion that, we show here in Australia was, really cool.
We'll take a break here on the Motorsport Brief. More with the newly crowned Supercars Champion, Brodie Kostecki, including your questions right after this. This is the Rusty's Garage shortcast with our special guest this week, fresh from the Supercars end-of-season gala and all those title-winning celebrations, the burnout. It's Brodie Kostecki. Thanks to all of you who have sent in some questions via socials. We will get to those shortly. Let's launch back into it now with the Coca-Cola Racing Erebus Star. The Gen 3 car. So much has been said about it this year. Did the variety of things that you have engineered and have raced over your career so far kind of help you with this for 2023?
Yeah, most definitely. I've always been pretty hands-on with every car that I've raced, and I would like to think I have, a decent engineering understanding of how, race cars work and whatnot. But to, go into this year with a whole new car and new set of rules and regulations that are a lot different than, what supercars had in the past sort of 15 to 20 years was, something I was, pretty excited about. Was, it was a complete reset for the category. Everyone's got, pretty much the same machinery underneath the skin, and it was a good opportunity for myself to take it with both hands and just, maximize it as much as possible. And, from the start of the season, obviously, the Gen 3 cars had a few hiccups here and there, as expected when, a new car comes in. But, we never really let that get the best of us, and just always focused about on trying to maximize our track time at test days, not let it get to us too much, and, just make the most of it, which is, I guess why, I get to sit here today and be the champion and, be part of the team that, won the Teams Championship.
Would you mind, I asked for some questions on social media, if we bounce through some from fans, from listeners. We've got one here from Cody Hughes. What are you expecting in regards to the dynamic with Will Brown next year? You've travelled as teammates, you've hung out a bit this year. Now he's off to your rivals at Triple Eight.
Yeah, it's going to be sad to see Will go. He's been a massive part of the Erebus rebuild from when we first signed as rookies. But I'm sure he'll enjoy his time at Triple Eight, and for us to be rivals next year is something that I'm looking forward to. we've been, very close in pace as teammates over the past 3 seasons. But I'm actually looking forward to seeing, a different side of Will and being able to race him. Not saying that we didn't race at Erebus, but we always put the team first, and we both know exactly what we're like off the track and what we're like on the track. We let, I guess, each other see that side of us. So yeah, it'll be interesting if we meet on track, how the battle will go. I'm sure it'll be pretty epic for the fans. So I'm pretty excited to see that and see what it's about.
Good on you, Emmett Loomish. Not so much a question here, more of a compliment to pass on. Loves that the number one is coming back on the car after the absence of it so long. Thank you for bringing back that tradition. One from Tony Nicastri, and a few others have gone with this theme too, and it leads to America. How long your plans are for Australia? Will you continue to pursue and follow, reignite that US dream?
Yeah, I enjoy racing here in Australia, to be honest. And, Supercars is something that I'm highly passionate about. And, I want to, check a lot of boxes off and, achieve some goals that I've, set out for myself before I do anything. And I'm not close to any of those yet. So, but yeah, I see myself racing supercars for a few more years at least. And to be honest, it's just one of those things where, I don't even look that far ahead. I just sort of, I know that I'm racing, next year, obviously. And, I'm just looking forward to that. And then, we'll just see what happens from there. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just like one of those things. I like racing everything. I race my sprint car. I've raced other forms of category, the Trans Am, I guess. And I just like driving. So, I'm just going to try to fill up my calendar as much as possible with it.
Can you do the odd NASCAR appearance next year if that fits the 24 schedule? Will you?
Yeah, most definitely. We're pretty close to organising 4 or 5 races for next year, which would be quite cool. So obviously had the one off this year and I really enjoyed my time working with RCR. They're, a great team, great bunch of people. And, got to experience that again and I guess reopen that chapter of my life that I thought that, may have been closed forever. Obviously, living over there for a few years, but didn't quite have the result that I wanted and made a little mistake in qualifying. But I had an absolute ball over there, and I'm looking forward to next year.
Maybe this is more of a question for Betty or Barry combined. This one's from Jamie Macro, wondering if there might be a closer connection or tie between Erebus and Richard Childress Racing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't necessarily have too much involvement, with that side of it, to be honest. When I raced with RCR this year, I obviously got introduced to some people at RCR through Terry and Dana Waihoon, which own Image Racing and have, fielded some really, really cool, some young talents that have come through the Super 3. And, they just won the Super 3 championship actually with Job Stewart. So got introduced to some people there through them and which was really cool. And Terry's got a great partnership with, some people at RCL, which is pretty cool. And, he goes over a few times a year and they have a supercar and they take it out and go get some road racing miles with Kyle and Austin, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm not too sure about, the partnership stuff. I don't really get too involved in it. That's probably above my pay grade, to be honest.
Dylan Angel on X or Twitter, he says, how's the head?
Fine, actually. I didn't actually drink that much due to being a little bit ill. So
okay.
Yeah, I would have liked to a little bit more, but honestly, I wasn't capable of it. So
fair enough.
Yeah, it was. I know that there's a few sore heads still today from my team, which is pretty funny. But that's the way it goes sometimes.
Okay, Adam Malloy, also on X, and you sort of lent or ventured this way before. Any more sprint car drives coming up?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm trying to work out when I could do some races in between, I guess, my supercar season starting. That threw a few spanners in the works with it starting a little bit earlier. I love racing the sprint car. It's, one of my favorite cars to race and drive. It's so different to what I'm used to. The discipline's so different. It's, 30, 40 laps, so hard, fast paced. And it's sort of interesting, supercar racing. We get to some of the venues on the Wednesday, we do set up and, we're there for 4 or 5 days. Supercar racing, you show up at lunchtime and you're out by 10 o'clock that night. And it's just, it's happened so fast. And it's, really cool to be around. The fans are really passionate as well. So yeah, I'll be back in the sprint car soon.
Cool. A couple of listener questions to finish here. One quickly from Brodie Pitts-Westley, who says, best advice you've been given and perhaps an idol if you have one.
Oh, that's a tricky question. But to be honest, I probably couldn't, probably don't have one, probably couldn't put it down to one, but I've been given a lot of advice in the last 4 to 5 years from various different people. But I can't really put down to one. And sorry, what was the last question again?
Idol. Do you have an idol or someone you looked up to when you were younger, perhaps as a racer? You know, could have been a NASCAR driver, Ayrton Senna, whoever it may have been.
Yeah, I grew up watching, supercars at a young age, and I, really liked Marcus Ambrose, and my family had a good connection with Stone Brothers at the time. With some of the engine stuff that they were doing back then, but. Yeah, and I watched NASCAR quite regularly, and my idol was Jimmy Johnson, watching him go through his peak of his career, which is really cool. And yeah, I guess those are the two people that I looked up to.
Cool. Oh, this is testing your voice. I'm conscious of that, mate. Last one from a listener. Sorry, mate.
Hang on one second.
Chris, you're right. Okay. Chris Crouch, an observation on talent coming through. Is there anyone that you've noticed that you've kind of kept an eye on that might be main game worthy in the years to come?
Honestly, I feel pretty, sorry for some of the young guys coming through. I guess, COVID threw a real spanner in the works for some of the junior categories, obviously not being able to race for 2 years, and it was only, the top level sports. But, it was great to see the Super 2 championship go down to the wire with, Kai and Zach Bess. And, those two teams to battle it out. And I was, pretty pleased to see, Ben and Rachel get another trophy. And, there's the Super 3 category as well, where we saw Job take out the Super 3 title. And, Cammy McLeod did a fantastic job this year as well, and probably put himself out with a few DNS. But, yeah, there seems to be a good crop of young fellows that are coming through that are, ready to show what they're made of, and probably a little bit green, some of them. But I'm sort of, really looking forward to seeing how they sort of progress. And we're starting to see a new wave in supercars as well. I guess, Matty Payne just won a race in his, rookie season on the Sunday at Adelaide, which obviously Brock won the year before. So I guess that's sort of a bit of a special track for that, I guess. I don't know. I'm actually really looking forward to next year to, race some of those guys and bring back, some real live action back into the sport. Should be pretty cool.
Well done. Well, let's finish it there because there's some great young talent coming through and we're going to enjoy that new wave. Well done on winning the crown. You are living proof that, hard work does pay off. I know you'll probably be thinking, as I can tell already from this interview, that backing it up may even be tougher, as they say, but you'll pursue that mission doggedly. Brodie, congratulations to you, to Betty, to Barry, Shannon, George, all of the team on an incredible achievement. Being a champion, mate, comes with great power for good too. So use that, make your mark. I can feel like you're already doing that. Rest up with those tonsils. We hope that operation goes well. Merry Christmas to you and all the very best for 2024.
Thank you very much.
I just think that is an awesome story, and we will get him back on one day for a full-length feature episode. I think he's got a few more chapters to write first. You can sense that, can't you? I put those posts up only a few hours on both Facebook and Twitter and Threads before we recorded, so we've had a heap of responses to those. To all of our followers and listeners whose questions I didn't get to, my apologies. I tried to make sure we covered the main themes or the common questions as best we could. Before we go, some other bits of news. Congratulations to Matt Payne, the young Kiwi winning on the Sunday at the Adelaide 500. Brodie talked about it in the chat there. Another bright young star has arrived in motorsport in this part of the world and certainly in supercars. Well done to Callum Hedge, who won the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia title there on the streets of Adelaide at the end of a massive year for the Kiwi. He also took out the Formula Regional Americas Championship and finished on the podium at the prestigious New Zealand Grand Prix earlier in the year. He is off to drive in Indy next in 2024. The experts at the Newcastle Council, I say that lightly, experts, have put the final nail in the street race there, unfortunately. Nice post by Ryan Walkinshaw on this. He was fantastic on the short cast last week, by the way. That's worth a listen. I'm paraphrasing here on what he said on Twitter, but basically that the majority of people loved that event, and it's a crying shame that the council caved to the minority. Max Verstappen won again to close out the F1 season in Abu Dhabi. Mercedes picked up second in the constructors at the final round, finishing just 3 points ahead of Ferrari. They are already into post-season testing there, with Jack Doohan at the wheel of the Alpine, making it 3 Aussies in action, as Oscar Piastri and Dan Ricciardo also undertake some valuable development miles for next year. Marc Marquez has had his first runs on a Ducati, having made the big switch after spending over a decade with Honda in MotoGP. The onboard vision from Valencia looks smooth and effortless. Early days, but it looks like he will be a force on that Gresini machine next year. And finally, Harry Bates will join us on the shortcast next week after that epic finish to the Australian Rally Championship. He and Coral Taylor took it out by 1 point at the end of the season, which literally came down to the final stage there in Canberra. So keep an eye out for notifications on that one next week. We hope you enjoyed hearing from Brodie Kostecki. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. Bye for now.
Looking for a new career? Welcome to Do HVAC Training Service Center in North Charleston. Enroll today in our comprehensive HVAC training hands-on field experience-based program, covering troubleshooting, maintenance, installation, and more on various HVAC systems and ductwork. We offer EPA and NAEP preparation and testing, along with various certifications. Enjoy payment options. Take advantage of their November specials. Achieve certification in under 5 months. Enroll now for your new journey of skill development and career advancement. Log on to DEWHVACTrainingsc.com to inquire.